Bucks, and I'm back again with another live stream. So the topic that I'll be discussing in this live stream today is in regards to what God thinks about homosexuality. The one thing we have to understand is that God honestly forbids it, right? And the reality is that a lot of the things that you're seeing in the world right now that are going on are as a result of people disobeying God's commandments, people not living the life that God has called us to live, right? There are so many things in which you're seeing right now. For example, the new thing in which they're trying to tell us that is coming out now that is going to cause people to be able to develop skin diseases, right? Regarding monkeys. Uh, we have to really, really pay attention to the agendas, right? And this is the thing. If you go back into ancient Egyptian days, you saw that God used plagues to be able to affect the Egyptians because they were, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, and so many different people. Why? Because they disobeyed what God told them. They disobeyed what God told them to do, right? People don't realize that a lot of these things that are happening right now in this life are as a result of disobedience, of sin, right? When you live a sinful life, when you live a life of disobedience, when you live a life of God, like live a life that God has called you not to live, you're going to start to see all of these things manifest. That is why they're going to try to put us into another lockdown. They don't want you to see the reality for the way it is. They want you to be broke in this matrix. They don't want you to be woke in this matrix. You feel what I'm saying? They don't want you to see the reality for the way it is. You feel what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Like, they don't want you to really be able to be a free thinker, to be able to think for yourself, to be able to think about all of the things that are going on. They don't want you to see the reality. The reality of the situation is that there is another lockdown coming. I've been saying this since the beginning of this year. Why? Because not only does the world government not want people here to rest, but they're not going to come out and say all of the full agendas. Plus, God is starting to punish all of the people that have disobeyed him year in and year out, right? So in regards to this monkey thing, you know what I'm saying? For YouTube purposes, we cannot go out and say the full thing. What we realize is that it was caused originally when it came to contact between two homosexual men, right? That is exactly how it started. Now they're trying to say that it's a state of emergency, right? In which basically everybody's going to start to develop it, and they're going to start to get people to start wearing masks again and start not touching people, sanitizing your hands, staying 6 feet apart, all of the things in which they were doing when that other thing that came out 2-3 years ago did it, right? So all of these are a consequence of people disobeying God. All of these things are a consequence of people not living holy lives. All of these are a consequence of people living life for the world. God even talks about it and says, when the spirit wages war against the flesh, it overcomes it. But when the flesh caves in and does not allow the spirit to overtake it, that is when you start to see a lot of these things happen. Like, for example, a lot of these STIs that you see in this world, aka the STDs, and all of these other diseases that you're seeing in this world were caused because of human contact and people sinning against God when God told them, do not do these things. You feel what I'm saying? All of these, and you might think that all of them are man-made. It's possible, but the reality of the situation is that they were created because of human disobedience. People disobeyed God, and then from there, that is why all of these things started to develop. People do not realize that. People don't think for 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But we as woke ones, we understand. The reality of the situation is that we need to be very, very cautious, bro. These next few weeks, these next few months, these next few years are going to be hell on earth, right? Why am I saying that? Because we're going to go into another lockdown very, very soon. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2020, around March, when they called the state of emergency the first time for the other thing that happened, within 2 weeks, everywhere was shut down. They just called the state of emergency a couple of days ago. So everywhere is going to shut down again in a couple of weeks, probably within a week or two, right? Because now they're saying that you can get skin to skin contact. We have to really start being cautious of what we do, right? We have to start being cautious of what we say. We have to be cautious of the lives we live because we don't realize how it's affecting us in a negative way, right? God completely forbids homosexuality, 100%. He does. Now, we're not trying to throw shade towards the LG, you know what I'm saying, community, the rainbow community. But at the same time as well, too, you have to understand that, especially, and this is not to knock Catholicism or to knock the Christian church as well, too, but this is another reason as for why, like, because at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do, but understand that there are certain principles in which God has laid out. These are not principles that Woke Bucks has laid out. These are principles in which God has laid out. So if you do not abide to those principles in which God has laid out, you're going against them, which means you're sinning against them, and whatever happens to you is what's going to happen to you. You understand? But people have to start being woke enough to be able to see the reality for the way it is and start paying attention and start being awake to see all of the things that are happening. People are not awake. People are sleeping in this matrix. That is why everything is happening in the way it is. You understand? A lot of us need to start really waking up to see the reality. We're not aware, and then from there, once it hits us, we're just like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? Like, why are all these things happening the way they're happening? It's because you chose to not pay attention, especially when those things were happening, bro. The thing is that in regards to all of these man-made things that are being created now, or, for example, if God is sending these plagues, we as human beings have the ability to be able to stop it. Why and how? We can stop it by obeying God. When you obey God, why would he want to bring plagues upon you? Why would he want to bring those things upon you, to hurt you, to harm you, to take you out? Because it's all because of the disobedience upon years and years and years. Now, for example, we bring the rainbow community back into the mix, right? They're starting to be accepted more by the Christian church, right? And this is the problem with the Christian church, because the Christian church right now is starting to conform to political society, right? They're starting to conform to the left more. And it's not about left or right, but I'm saying in general, you're starting to see a lot of these political agendas being enforced in the Christian and Catholic church. And it's like, you really, really need to be cautious. People don't pay attention and understand that these things are going against what God has in store, right? But if you pay attention to other religions like Islam, right, they're very, very strict when it comes to their religion. They don't tolerate that because they know that it's an abomination. And for it to be real. Well, most people are not ready to have that conversation, but here on the channel, we speak the truth, regardless of how people feel about what we're saying. You understand? Because we're not trying to come across as politically correct. If we're to be real, we could care less if we come across as politically correct, because the reality of the situation is that we live for Christ. We live for God. We live for bigger purposes than to be politically correct, because who cares to be politically correct? I don't. We don't on this channel. We just want truth. We want truth. That's what we want. You understand? Another thing we're also going to bring up in this live stream as well too is a situation involving Brittany Griner. Unfortunately, in her situation, right? So we're going to break that down right now, guys. And the one thing we have to understand about the Brittany Griner situation is that she has unfortunately been used as a pawn by the government of Eastern Europe to be held captive as a slave in their country for the next 9 years. All because of bringing a pen to their country. Now, with that being said, I will say that that was definitely an irresponsible move that she made, but there are definitely other factors in which contributed towards her becoming used as a pawn. For example, the United States sanctioned Russia. I shouldn't even be saying that, but the United States sanctioned the Eastern European country a couple of months ago. You know what I'm saying, woke family? They sanctioned them. So with them sanctioning them, now it's making it very, very hard for her to be able to come back to this country to be able to live her life. Remind me, she's married to another one, which, like I said, God forbids that. But with that being said, when you pay attention to these things, you start to really, really see why all of these plagues are affecting us right now, in which we're about to go into lockdown into. You know what I'm saying? In a few weeks. So with that being said, now you have a president of this country who doesn't really want to step up and take the necessary action to be able to bring her back, because he sanctioned that country. You know what I'm saying? So with him sanctioning the country, it's a situation now that she's serving 9 years of jail time in that country because of the sanction and all the other factors that are leading in. Also, this country giving the country that they're fighting all of the weaponry. all of the rockets, bombs, all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So my point is that there are a lot of different factors that are contributing towards all of that are happening now, all of the negative things. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to show you that you as a human being, you have to really, really, really be cautious of everything that's going on, because the reality situation is that majority of people are not aware of these things. So when we start to talk about them, when we start to see it for the way it truly is, people are just like, what, where, how, like what, like how are these thoughts coming into play? But the thing is that they've always been like this. It's up to you to realize that, though. It's up to you to really see it. So when you start to see these things, everything else is gonna make it. It's gonna make sense. But when you don't, it's like, dang, like what's really going on? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, man. Like, we really got to start paying attention. We really got to start seeing things for the way that they truly are, because people unfortunately fail to see the reality for the way society is, and then blame other people why they're not successful, why they're not getting to the levels that they want to get to, why they're not doing the things that they want to do. And it's because you don't have the right mindset towards life. You don't have the right mentality. So if you don't have the right mentality, if you don't have the right mindset, how is every other thing going to work out for you? Ask yourself that one question. How is every other thing going to work out for you if you don't have the right things in order in the first place? Life is just about balance. Life is about making sure that everything else works out. But if you don't have the right things in order, there's no point. You feel what I'm saying? Another topic we're going to get into. You feel what I'm saying? People really sincerely, because we've been talking about this on this channel for the past couple of weeks now, or not even weeks, but for years. So I'm going to be honest with you. People do not realize the plot that the elites have to be able to destroy humanity. We as people need to really start waking up to the reality of the elites and their plots to destroy humanity, because people are not woke to that. So when you become woke to those things, you have to start to see it for the reality of the situation. The reality situation is that the elites are at work to be able to destroy humanity. That is exactly why you're starting to see them enact rules and policies and violations, right, to their human code of conduct that they set through the Constitution and all the other stuff. As well as that, they're literally creating rules in which at any point in time, if they feel necessary, they can break it or they can implement it. Which, more likely than not, if they create a rule for everybody else, they're going to break it because they feel like they're special. You understand? Listen to what I said carefully. I said they feel like they're special. So when somebody feels like they're special, they're going to do everything in which it takes to be able to accomplish a certain mission, a certain task, a certain goal. We got to wake up to these things. You know what I'm saying? We got to wake up to these things. We got to start to see them for the way that they truly are. There are so many negative things happening in our world, so many demonic things. We all as people need to sincerely wake up and start to see the reality for the way it is. Because if we don't wake up and start to see the reality for the way it truly is, only more negative things are going to come. Like, this probably is not going to be the last lockdown we're going to be going into. We probably have like a couple more lockdowns because of all the negative things that we've been doing as people. When you start to see these things for the way that they truly are, nobody can stop us, bro. But the reality is that a lot of us like to be in denial and be like, oh yeah, I didn't do anything to cause it. I didn't do anything to cause it. You obviously did. You obviously did. You understand? Now, with that being said, the question is, what can I do to fix my behavior? What can I do to level up? What can I do to become a greater version of myself? These things long term are really going to determine how far we go, what we accomplish, when we accomplish it, stuff like that, and things of that nature. You understand? The reality situation is that God has blessed us as people to really be able to have the right mentality, the right mentality, the right attitude in every other fashion, instead of things like that, to be able to dominate, to be able to live a life of abundance. But the problem is that a lot of people live in scarcity and make scarcity-based decisions. You will never accomplish the goals in which you want to accomplish when you live in scarcity. Stay locked in. Keep accomplishing goals. Keep setting goals out. Keep accomplishing every day, every day, every day. If you don't have people that are constantly hating on you, you're not working hard enough. Let me say that again, and you can clip this, right? If you don't have people that are hating on you, you're not working hard enough. When you start to work hard enough, you're going to start to see the haters really come out. And when they come out in all fours, make sure that you're ready too, to be able to do what you got to do. Real talk. That's what it is. So with that being said, these are God's thoughts on homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? If you understand it, it's because you're woke. If you do not understand, unfortunately, you're not woke. This command of this video live stream. If you like this video live stream, make sure you go spam that like button, leave comments, share this live stream video live stream with your friends. Subscribe to the channel at WokeeBucks, WOKEEBUKS, and tap the notification bell to get all the latest videos that I post. Patreon link will be down in the description below, and so will social media links. So make sure you go give those a check. But without further ado, this is this live stream video live stream. This is WokeeBucks, and I'm out, man.